was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. And God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And God made the expanse, and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were above the expanse. And it was so. And God called the expanse heaven. And there was evening, and there was morning, the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heavens be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together he called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the earth sprout vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees bearing fruit which is their seed, according to its kind, upon the earth." And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, plants yielding seed according to their own kinds, and trees bearing fruit which is their seed, each according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. And God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the heavens, to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days and years, and let them be to give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made the two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night, and the stars. God set them in the expanse of the heavens to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. And God said, "Let the waters swarm with the swarms of living creatures, and let the birds fly over the earth across the expanse of the heavens." So God created the great sea creatures, and every living creature that moves, with which the waters swarm, according to their kinds, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." And there was evening, and there was morning, the fifth day. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creatures according to their kind, livestock and creeping things, and the beasts of the earth according to their kinds." And it was so. And God made the beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and the livestock according to their kinds, and everything that creeps on the ground according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. And then God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." And God said, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree in its fruit. You shall have them for food, and to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has been given the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food." And it was so. And God said that everything he had made was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. Now, I know what you're thinking. You clicked on this video expecting exactly what was promised, the nativity story. Now, if you're anything like me, you'll think, "Oh, this isn't what I was expecting." I'll click away. First, stay. It'll make sense. Second, let me explain. The Christmas story starts in the beginning, like Genesis beginning. This whole crazy story began with creation. There's a reason that instead of the nativity story, the Gospel of John starts with a retelling, a clarification of the original story in Genesis. The word logos is the little baby in the manger, the Savior of the world, the child of a virgin, yet the child of God, of Yahweh, the Messiah. Through the whole Bible, we see his fingerprints. Through every story, all the disasters, catastrophes, and mayhem we human wreak with our sin, a single thread of good, nay, a cloth of good, can be traced back to the Word, God himself. So yes, before we go forwards, we must look back to our own benign, divine beginnings, to our betrayal of the Word, to his prophecy of redemption woven into the very curse that cast us out of the garden. All right, so before we jump in, I want to welcome our guest, Spryzen. Spryzen, thanks so much for joining me in this very first episode of my new series, The Nativity.
No problem, and it's an honor, honestly.
Well, it's great to have you. I have a question before we start.
What's up?
How many days of creation can you name from memory?
Oh man, from memory. Okay. Well, I know that there were six, and then the Sabbath, the resting day,
Mm-hmm.
being the seventh. Um, from memory, we have where the first one where God separated the where was it? Oh, the light. Sorry, it was the light that was first.
Mm-hmm.
The light, and then separating the lights and the darkness should be number two.
Let's
Number
see. I'm gonna see how many you get right.
number three should be forming the water and separating the land. Man, I did this like not that long ago. I should be able to remember.
I'm not gonna say anything because I have most of Genesis 1 memorized.
Oh man. Number four should be bringing veg like vegetation to the earth. Number five should be number six. I know was also the creation of humans. Oh, so then five should be the uh land animals and most of the animals,
Okay, do you want
like
me
the
to tell
water
you what they
animals.
are?
Yes.
All right.
I feel like I got something wrong there.
Day 1, he created light and separated light from the darkness,
Yeah.
creating day and night. Day 2, he separated the waters from the waters by creating the heavens. Day 3, he brought forth plants and vegetations on the earth. Day 4, he created the sun, moon, and stars. Day 5, he created the fish and the birds. Day 6, he created the land animals and man.
Oh, I was off by like, yeah, everything was like, yeah.
You split up creating light and separating light from darkness into 2
Yeah.
days, which doesn't completely make sense because of
Yeah, no,
how
that's,
that works.
yeah, that is very true.
All right, so let's go ahead and hop in. So, have you ever heard the word logos before?
Honestly, I haven't.
It's the Greek word for, well, word, and it's specifically the word that's used in John.
Okay, yeah.
So, for the Christian faith, it has meaning.
Yeah,
Now,
sure.
I don't know. I seriously doubt that people would take very like. I doubt that there are people who literally think that we're talking about an actual, like, I don't know, book or word here.
Yeah, yeah.
There might be some people who interpret it that literally. I don't know. But actually, this word is Jesus, which is
Hmm.
generally accepted.
Yeah.
And so, like, I find it interesting that John goes back to the beginning when he begins his gospel instead of starting with the nativity.
Oh yeah. That it's nice, honestly, because how far into the future is was the Gospel of John, when it was written? And to
Like,
reference the beginning,
yeah. It's like
it's nice.
3,000 years, I think it was. I
Let's see. I'm
might be
looking through to
wrong
see if.
there. But I think it's 3,000 years from when Genesis occurs. At least, I think it's 3,000 years from our earliest historical records.
Yeah, I heard something like that. Yeah,
So, that's pretty crazy.
it is, and indeed it is.
Now, the Gospel of John is actually one of, believe, two Gospels out of the four Gospels. I think it's only one of two Gospels that doesn't actually go back to the Nativity story.
Oh, interesting.
I
Yeah,
believe, if I remember correctly, the other one is. Yeah, the other one is Mark. It starts with John the
yeah, that's what I thought.
Baptist.
Yeah,
So both John and Mark don't go back. It's John goes way further back.
way further back. Yeah,
Like all the way back to in the beginning God created. That's
yeah.
just is hilarious actually cuz it's like he's thinking, all right, I need to make it clear that Jesus and God were both there at the beginning. How best to do
Mm-hmm.
this?
Yeah.
You know what? I'll start my gospel, my eyewitness account of Jesus' life. I'll start it at the beginning. The
Yeah.
beginning.
The
And it's
beginning,
like, you
beginning.
think, okay, we're going to start at the beginning of his story. Okay, we go to the nativity scene. Wait, no, it's not starting. It's starting all the way back at Genesis? What? So it's actually an interesting thing also that this is another reference in the New Testament back to the Old Testament. There's actually way more of these than you would think because a
Oh,
lot
really?
of Jesus' teaching actually, like, huge swaths of it draw from the Old Testament,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
which is interesting because
Interesting.
the correlation
Yeah.
kind of affirms the validity.
Yeah. For sure it does.
So, like, some common, like, symbolism I've heard that's like most people don't actually like, I don't think a lot of people realize is like, if I remember correctly, do you remember the moment when Moses strikes the stone when he's bringing forth
Yes.
water? I believe,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, this is one of the odder ones, but the stone people tend to say is like representative of Jesus, which I can
Oh.
get where that's coming from. I don't know, my personal
Yeah.
opinion is that's one of the odder ones
Yeah.
cuz
Yeah. I've never
like
really.
it's a little far fetched, but then
Yeah.
the better ones are actually in Psalms and the different prophets where we actually see genuine prophecies
Yeah.
of that the actual Messiah, and it's incredible because, like, throughout the entirety of his ministry Jesus was fulfilling hundreds of prophecies, and it's still like the Pharisees, they knew something was gone. Like
Yeah.
just they
Yeah.
know something's going on. But they
Absolutely.
don't want to believe that they're wrong. They don't want to think they're doing anything wrong here cuz they're the
Yeah.
holy people.
Yeah.
And then the Sadducees, well, the Sadducees, according to some of the research I've done, they actually didn't really believe much in the supernatural, which,
Oh.
doesn't make sense, but it does make sense at the same
Yeah.
time. Like it explains some of why they acted the way they did.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
And so they're like, there's no supernatural Messiah. There's just, you know, the rules that we have here and now, and he's
hmm
saying we're discarding them as if why would we, or not discarding them, but like saying we're being freed from them and
Yeah.
not following this stuff about kosher and all this anymore? What? No, we have to
Yeah.
follow these rules. Like it's almost like it's crazy to me how much of their identity relied on these laws.
On this. Yeah. I did find that very odd to place basically your entire thing around it. It's just I don't know.
Maybe that just seems odd
Really.
to us because we don't really get most of our identity from something like that.
Yeah.
But then again, I can't even like it reminds me of a book I read and I'm wondering if that correlation was purposeful because it's written by a Mormon who is in the word
Oh,
and
okay.
whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's going to have heard these stories probably growing up. And I'm wondering there's a specific group of people who are like this in his book.
Oh,
And it
okay.
makes me
Yeah.
wonder, is he like referencing it? And I mean, it's a little far fetched, but at the same time, it's
Yeah.
like,
No, yeah.
of course, we also have people like this today who place almost their whole identity in rules. And while rules are good and they have their place, to put
Oh, yeah.
your complete identity in something other than Christ is
Yeah.
iffy at best.
Yeah. Yeah.
it,
That's
it
that's so true.
it leads to a lot of like the confusion that we have today over our identity and who we are and
hmm
feeling like we don't know who we are and having to go find ourselves in other
Yeah.
things and never finding ourselves because well we're not
Uh-huh.
out there to find.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yep,
of course
yep.
the opposite of that is looking inward and trying to find yourself inside yourself and commune with the universe, and I don't want to get too deep into that. I don't have
Yeah.
particular knowledge on that, but
Yeah. It
so
it's like with the whole apologies.
no, it's
But
fine.
it's like with the whole oh my gosh, what is it called? With the whole those readings, those the readings people do.
Like palm readings and tarot cards?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
Yeah.
that's astrology. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
That
Oh.
always seemed a little odd to me.
That the best part is there's stuff like that literally mentioned in the Bible because you want to know something?
What?
It goes back that far.
It goes back that far.
It goes back to before we had Abraham.
Yeah.
People were using astrology to try and predict what to do because they couldn't
Yeah.
reconcile the fact that there was actually a higher power who's like, hey,
Mhm.
over here, I have rules for you. Come follow the
Yeah.
path that I've set for you. And they're like, no, no, we're going to look up at the stars. You mean the stars I
Mhm.
created?
Yeah, he created, yo.
All right, fine. You want something to see in the stars? I'll give you something to see in the stars. It's like, oh, I
Oh,
often wonder if like at times God has a sort of grim sense of humor where he kind of just has to laugh at how stupid we are sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
Like
I
like I
wonder
can't
that as
imagine
well.
this, but like try to imagine for a second being the creator of the universe and the very beings you created in your image to have a relationship with
Mhm.
look to the other things you created as if they're you. Like, it's
It
like,
reminds me of the meme with the guy and the butterfly and asking, "Is this or whatever you want to put in there?" Basically, it's kind of like a fill in the blank. I was like, "Is this our identity?"
no,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
not. You like,
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No.
I think
Yeah. uh,
so. Pulling it back in a little bit, that was a tangent
yeah.
for the ages, but
Oh yeah.
pulling it in a little bit,
That was.
like the reason for some of this clarification around the word and God is, if I'm remembering my history correctly and my church history correctly, even back when the Gospels were being written, there was confusion over doctrine like the Trinity.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure.
So, people, big thing is they were having confusion. How do we explain to our Jewish friends that we only worship one God, the same God you worship, but he has three persons, three parts? That's not a good
Mm-hmm.
way to describe it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
do we then also go over and explain to the Greeks that no, we don't worship more than one God, we only worship one God, but he's three
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
persons? It's the same thing, but you're
Yeah.
coming from different backgrounds. One would be considered blasphemy to say there are three gods. One where having a God with different persons has no, like, why wouldn't you just have three different gods? Why not just make up three different
Mm-hmm.
gods if you're
Yeah.
gonna be going
Yeah.
through all this trouble? Like, the the
That
Greeks
Greek. Yeah.
and Romans had no concept of having just one God. The blasphemy called upon by the Jewish people, it was a crazy time to try and evangelize.
Mm-hmm.
And so, years and years after all the apostles were gone, they actually held something called the Council of Nicaea to come up with a doctrine. Because
Oh, okay.
because everybody's been trying to come up with a doctrine. How do we explain this? And we ended up with a bunch of different heresies. One of them being Arianism, which is basically saying that God and Christ are separate.
Oh.
One of them being that the three persons of the Trinity are actually all the same person, just wearing different masks. So
Huh?
they actually had to address. So it's called modalism.
Oh, okay.
Um, this is actually like,
Yeah.
it still comes up throughout church history as we try to figure out how to explain it. So if you've ever heard, have you ever heard like the clover analogy for the Trinity?
I can't say that I have. No,
Okay.
I
So
don't think so.
it's this analogy where you take like a three-leaf clover.
Yeah.
And so you point to one of each of the petals of the clover and you say, well, this is God and this is Christ and this is the Holy Spirit. It's one clover, but it has three petals. That's kind of modalism because they're
Oh.
separate, but they're also one. And the
Yeah.
many ways I've heard try to describe it, of course, come short because, well, it's an infinite God we're trying to describe, just to put it simply.
Hmm. Yeah.
Words are going to fail miserably.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. It's even mentioned that like words can't describe.
Exactly. Like, and so
Yeah.
we're humans, of course, we have to try and come up with an explanation. We have to try and
Mhm.
understand because that's
Yeah.
how we are. Even though it's like there are some things we're not going to be able to understand, like the infinite. We can't understand that. We had to come up with a little symbol to symbolize that we can always keep adding one to the number line.
Yeah.
We can never reach infinity because it's always, you can always add one, always add one, always add one.
Yeah.
It hurt our brains, so we said, okay, let's put a capstone on it and not think about it. I swear they've probably got a computer running somewhere counting up 1 until like hoping someday we'll find the end of the number line because surely
Yeah,
it must exist.
surely. Surely.
Because our tiny human brains can't comprehend the fact that there might be something that actually goes on forever.
Mm-hmm.
In our tiny little short 80 years, which that sounds like an eternity to us, it's not.
Oh yeah.
In our short
Yeah.
80
Yeah.
years on this planet, which is a blip at most on God's scale,
Mm-hmm.
we can't
And to
comprehend.
think people back then also lived longer.
Actually, like during this time, they lived shorter.
Oh really?
So
Oh,
way back
I would say
when,
modern,
right
yeah.
after Genesis, well, during Genesis and right after Genesis, people were living longer, then they started living shorter
Yeah.
again. And then as we started getting modern medicine and that kind of stuff, they started living longer again. I think
Yeah.
during the Roman Empire, it was better because they had, like, they were cleaner and better,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Baths, public baths were a big thing. Everybody was actually washing
Yeah.
themselves. People were living a
Yeah.
little bit longer than we see during, like, the medieval period,
Yeah.
but still. People were still dying younger than we are today
Yeah.
because of modern medicine and all that great stuff.
Yeah.
But even back then, it would have been even less comprehensible in their like 50, 60, maybe 70-year lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
Infinity is even harder to comprehend because you have like the shortest little blip on the timeline. Like, if you've ever looked at a timeline of known history and seen them put people's lives on it, it's actually freaky how small they are. Like,
Yeah.
they're barely
No,
a
I can imagine that.
dot. And
Wow.
it's like, all these things that seem so big to us are actually small. And it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
we then, like, even seeing a molehill as a mountain, we try and comprehend infinity
Mm-hmm.
or say it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is, honestly. And I think that's what drives a lot of people away.
It it is actually. Like, the not knowing the mystery, I'm not gonna lie, it makes it sound a little bit like a cult.
Yeah, yeah.
No, there is a big difference.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you look at the definition even, you can see a big
Yeah, no, yeah.
difference.
As a quick little Google search can already tell you the difference.
Yeah, so Christianity is very much a religion,
Mm-hmm.
whereas something like, I'm gonna try and pull up one that our friends aren't involved in. Um, God, I'm coming up with nothing. I'll just use Scientology is
Oh
a
yeah.
cult.
Yeah.
Um, that looking up the stuff for it is actually freaky. And
Actually not
without
too familiar with it.
so basic rundown, it's a cult slash a scam.
Oh, okay.
So I can explain it to you more after, but
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
basically it's a cult and a scam all wrapped up into one. You give us money,
That's
we'll give you
great.
spiritual awakening. Not.
What? What?
It's more complicated than that, and I promise I will
No,
explain
yeah,
in a
yeah,
moment.
yeah. Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
yeah, that's like the all we've gone off so far from where we were. We were on the Trinity and everything.
Yeah.
I want to go back there for a second and say
Yeah,
that's one of those things we can't comprehend, but it's so important
it is. Yeah, it is
because
for sure.
if you say that Jesus is separate from God, then he loses his authority.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you then we get into actual blasphemy when you say that God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit are three separate
Or
gods. We
yeah.
get into heresy, we get into blasphemy, and not to be rude to any of people I know, um, that can be dangerous and a very slippery
Yeah.
slope to start sliding down.
Yeah.
So, just a word of caution before you start
Hmm.
exploring too far and thinking too hard about it. It's important to know where you stand, but things like the Trinity are actually best left in mystery. We can
Yeah. Yeah,
know,
for sure.
and if you can know and be at peace with the fact that there's one God, but he's three persons, I'd say please just don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
If you've gotten this far in algebra 2, imaginary numbers for our
That's
audience
yeah.
at home. Don't think
Oh
about it too
man.
hard, or that little square root of -1 is going to kill your brain.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah.
I just hit imaginary
No.
numbers in algebra 2.
That yeah.
My best friend, she was like, but how can a number be imaginary? And I'm like, okay, look, just think about it like it's a variable. Just use it in
Yeah.
the
Huh?
equation like it's a variable. That's essentially what it is from a mathematical standpoint. If you square it, you'll get a
Yeah.
nice little -1, but that doesn't matter right now.
That's right.
Just use it as a variable.
Yeah. Man, I remember that. That was interesting.
And
That
so
was.
there are certain things that will remain mysteries to us. And if we can accept it in
Hmm.
math with our infinities and our imaginary numbers, and even to a lesser extent, our negative numbers, think about that for a minute and you'll understand what I mean. Um,
Yeah.
anyways, point being, it's a mystery. Don't think too hard about it. Just
Yeah.
please don't think too hard about it. So before before I stop this episode, I do want to come back to the historical like evidence sort of for stuff like the Gospel of John.
Yeah.
Big big factor that I know has a lot of different people on like various rounds of is like
Yeah.
the accuracy of the translations.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's
That's
a
a
big one for
huge
sure.
one. Now,
Yeah.
if you're one of those people who would like to who questions that, completely valid. First, I would say, because I've run a message through Google Docs Translate. It comes out the other side meaning something completely different from what I meant sometimes,
Yeah.
like talking about goats instead of kids in the case of Spanish, because a
Uh,
child goat is a kid.
uh-huh.
That
Yeah, I
one
can
was a
see where the
fun
confusion
one.
goes there.
Um, so big thing. I get that translations can be like that. That's why actually we have so many different translations of the English Bible. And why when you're doing a really deep dive into the meaning of a verse, using multiple translations is good.
Mhm. Absolutely.
Another helpful tool is there's actually several resources out there that can show you the Greek translations of words that are commonly disputed.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool.
Um, website I was shown for school last year is called Blue Letter Bible.
Oh, okay.
I'll probably link that in the description so people can get to it easier. But yeah, you can go back and look at the Hebrew roots, you can look at the Greek roots and the Latin roots. And I
Oh,
want to
that's
point
sick.
out if you use a English translation, newer translations will have actually probably been translated directly from the Greek, but if you're using a version like the King James version, it probably will have been translated from the Latin Vulgate. So you actually haven't come very
Yeah.
far from the language that it was originally written in. In the case of the King James version coming from the Vulgate, you've gone from Greek to Latin to English, In the case of some of our newer Bibles, you've gone from Greek to English, so that's not going to be a big deal. The
Yeah.
big thing with the accuracy is when we weren't going back and looking at the history, and we were saying things like, essentially we've been playing telephone with it. Like, people have been
Oh,
thinking
okay. Yeah.
we've been playing telephone and stuff. So, like,
Yeah.
we translated it from Greek into Latin into German into French into English.
Yeah.
That's not what
The.
happened, if I'm remembering my
Mm-hmm.
history correctly. It went from Greek to Latin to English. So, another point I'd love to make is we actually, for Old Testament manuscripts, if I remember correctly, we actually have more copies of Old Testament manuscripts, or it might be New Testament. It's some of the two. Like one of the
One
two,
of the
maybe
two.
a mixture. We have more accurate and complete copies of those than we have of Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, and several
Yo.
other old texts which we accept without blinking an eye as being the
Mm-hmm.
correct translation.
Yeah.
So, like like maybe we should stop doubting for a
Yeah.
minute and take a look at the actual evidence we have of it being correct.
Yeah. There's a lot of evidence that
There's like, I
there's
don't want to
just
go
way
too
too
deep
much
into this
that.
because I could totally
Oh
do a
no, yeah.
whole episode on how much evidence we actually have for Christianity being true,
Oh yeah.
and it's
Oh yeah.
insane.
There's
Like,
just
just
way too
thinking about
much.
the Shroud of Turin, which they've been doing
Mm-hmm.
so much research on, and that's a recent one. That's
That
recent.
was super recent actually.
We've got the Dead Sea Scrolls. We've got a lot of other things that I haven't done topical research on, but we've got a lot of different things and proofs and, like, historical figures. Even we accept Abraham as a historical figure now. We accept
Yeah.
Goliath of all. We accept a giant as a historical
Go
figure. People
on.
say that Jesus
Oh
did
my
exist.
god.
The huge thing is the resurrection.
Yeah.
Now, here's another big thing. People say, oh, they'll find his tomb sooner or later with his bones in it, and he actually died and he stayed dead, and it was a huge cover up and a conspiracy theory from the government or something like that. Um, no, we have not in
No,
the, some, like, 100 years we've been doing archaeology, 200 years, something like that. We
yeah,
haven't
something like
found,
that.
that's one of the big things they've been looking for and haven't found. It's about
Yeah,
as, like,
you're not gonna find it.
not. And
No.
the Shroud of Turin too is such a big thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people, like, it might actually be Jesus's burial clothes.
Yeah.
And even
It,
better, it matches most of, like, older Christian imagery of what he looked like.
mm-hmm.
And it's
That's
like,
that's the part that was like,
that's the
wow.
part that gets me. It's like, okay, there's something in it. There's something in
Yeah.
this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, anyways, um, that's really the last I had to say. Do you have anything that you want to mention on this?
Um, not really, no.
Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Special shout out to Spryzen for helping me out with recording. He had to go, so I'm recording this outro by myself. But once again, thank you, Spryzen, for helping me with this video. Before you click away, please like and subscribe to my channel. It costs you nothing, and it helps the channel more than you know. Well, until next time, see you later.